What's going on, guys? Thanks to those joining me live and to those joining me on archive. So, if you go back mid 2015, before the Holly Holm fight, if you go back before the Holly Holm fight, Ronda Rousey was the biggest name, the biggest draw in the UFC. Okay, and that's without question. And while she was on top, I mean, I heard some ridiculous things, right? Like I heard stuff like, she would go to boxing and become a world champion. Now, keep this in mind. A couple things you got to keep in mind. Women's boxing is nowhere near as advanced as men boxing is. Okay, it's the level of athlete. It's the whole thing. Boxing has notorious. It's very notorious for being a sport that doesn't really support women. Okay, I mean, you had Muhammad Ali's daughter boxing, and she was very talented, especially compared to her competition. And I'm not saying that there's no skillful women boxers out there. That's not what I'm saying. But compared to the men, it's night and day. Okay, it's night and day. But even then, I knew Rousey just going to boxing and winning a world championship was a little out there, right? It was a little out there. Yeah, Dana talking about it. You had everybody talking about it, right? In fact, I still remember De La Hoya. I mean, Ossie De La Hoya, the biggest hypocrite in the world. I mean, right now he's up in arms that this fight's happening. Okay, the Conor Floyd fight, but that same guy, Oscar De La Hoya. Okay, I mean, we're talking about the same individual that had Ronda Rousey plastered on the Ring magazine. Now, I understand Ring magazine. I don't read it no more. I don't even go to ring.com, okay? There's too much of a conflict of interest with a boxing promoter owning that magazine. But I used to love that magazine when I was growing up, right? I used to have a lot of older magazines, I might do like something where I review a magazine or something like that. I'll try to go as far back as I can. I have my grandfather has magazines that I want. Okay, I want those magazines, but grandma's keeping them away. Long story, but I want them. I want them in my possession, right? But with that said, but even then, it was still like a slap in the face out of all the boxers you could put, okay, in the cover. I mean, you put Ronda Rousey. Instead of putting a female boxer on there or something, you put Ronda Rousey. I mean, that was a big slap in the face to boxing. And he also tried to make the Canelo. He was interested in putting Canelo in there against Conor McGregor, right? Big hypocrite, this guy. But anyway, Austin Lloyd was saying, well, yeah, she's a real champion, and I think she can do it, and she could definitely cross over to boxing, and this was just when Ronda Rousey was coming off her dominant victory over Beth Carrera. I think that's how you pronounce her name. This Brazilian girl, and she used some boxing to take her out, and she looked spectacular, right, doing it. And it got me to thinking, because just right now, a couple of minutes ago, I finished listening to Boxing Beats and Rhymes video, and he kind of touched on it about this, big hype that was surrounding Ronda Rousey and the things that were being said. And it's true. It's absolutely true. Let me tell you something. If Ronda Rousey would have challenged like a reigning world champion in boxing, okay, it would not have been as big as this, I don't think, because nobody would know who that boxing champion is, right? But it would have been pretty big, right? It'd probably do 1 million buys or something like that. And I'm telling you, the masses would be picking Ronda Rousey to win. I mean, a trainer with a lot of confidence. Oh, she could, she could win a world championship in boxing right now if she wanted to. And you had a lot of guys on here. I remember doing a video where I was talking about her hands not being that impressive. Yeah, dudes on here, like, no, they are impressive, bro. She has power in both hands, and it was fucking insane, right? Like, people ate that shit up because she looked good knocking out some female in the UFC with her hands. You know, it's crazy, right? Now that shit got shut down once people realized that she doesn't like to get hit. Once she couldn't take somebody down, okay? I mean, you saw what happened in the Holly Holm fight. You saw what happened in her last fight. Nobody's talking about that shit anymore, right? But if Ronda Rousey would have transitioned, quote unquote, or did a one-off to win a world championship in boxing, I honestly believe you would see, maybe at a much lower level, but you would see the phenomenon that we're seeing right now. You would see the masses overreacting to her boxing skills and how much of an athlete she is. She was winning. She won the SP Female Athlete of the Year. Right? Over female athletes that are unbelievable athletes. I mean, this is insane. She won the Athlete of the Year SP Award. That is the definition of insane, okay? I remember how I was like, what the hell? Now, that shit got shut down, obviously. Nobody's talking about that anymore, right? Nobody's talking about that anymore. But I do believe that you would have First Take and, they would be talking, and Undisputed and all these shows. I don't even think Undisputed existed then, but it would be very similar to what you're experiencing right now. Like, it would be very similar, right? Very similar, right? And if how she performed against Holly Holm is any indication of how she would do, and keep in mind, okay, Holly Holm was outstriking her, given the fact that she had to anticipate the takedown. Given the fact that other elements of boxing you can't really utilize, like she can't really get in the phone booth because she'll be, judo thrown. Like there's a lot she couldn't do. There's a lot she can't do in the octagon, right? But even then, the very what was limited to her, like she destroyed Ronda Rousey, destroyed her, made her look relatively stupid in there. All the claims that she could go out and dominate in boxing were done. I mean, nobody was talking about that. I mean, that was over, right? That was done. I mean, it's crazy, but that's just the way it is, right? I do believe it would have been a big circus like we're seeing now. Like I said, at a lower level, at a lower level. But it would have been a circus, okay? The media would be giving her a legitimate shot to win. Odds makers might be a little because no one really would know that I have no idea who would have been the favorite, to be honest with you. I just don't know. I don't know which boxing champion she would fight. I don't know. I don't follow women's boxing. Okay, see what I mean? But at the end of the day, it would have been a circus, and you would have Dana White. Oh, you don't understand. Look, she has power in both hands, and her trainer, right, whatever his name is, I forget the guy's name, would be saying, oh, look, I've trained boxers before. I know she's the best I've ever seen. That's what the guy was saying. That she's the best he's ever seen with hands. Okay, as far as women goes. Okay, they were talking about how and this is not, this is like, it's a joke now, but they were saying shit like, if Layla Ali, okay, she would be better than Layla Ali in boxing. They were saying shit like that. I mean, are you shitting me? All right? Are you shitting me? Um, could you imagine Ronda Rousey in the ring with freaking Ann Wolfe? And Ann Wolfe would murder her with one fucking punch. All right? Imagine if Holly Holm had her in a fucking boxing ring. She'd fucking maul her, man. She'd fucking destroy her. Okay, it wouldn't even be funny. Layla Ali, I mean, Layla Ali will knock her out whenever she wants. Okay, the moment she wants to knock her out, she would knock her out. I mean, it's the moment she wants to do it. And let me take it a step further, right? Some of the women boxers, like the Ann Wolves and stuff like that, women's MMA, okay, is not as advanced as men's MMA. It's not, okay? So it's, yes, some of these female boxers can transition to MMA, and maybe not in their first fight, but like you saw with Holly Holm, they can make that transition, right? You know, if that is possible, because it's nowhere near as advanced as the men's. It's actually the other way around, right? And women's boxing isn't as advanced, you know, so it is very possible that a female MMA fighter can have very good hands and be far more successful in boxing than Ronda Rousey ever could. But I haven't really seen that right now. Okay, I mean, people like it's like people fall in love with MMA fighters and knock people out with their hands, and immediately it's like, oh my god, she could be a world boxing champion. He could be a world boxing champion. That's insane. All right. So I don't know what you guys think. Like, go back to 2015, and instead of fighting Holly Holm, let's remember, Holly Holm was a big underdog in that fight. I was one of the very few people that came on here and said Holly Holm's going to win. Right? I was one of the few people. And I'll admit, it wasn't even the most confident pick in the world, because if she would have taken her down, who knows what would have happened, right? But I just felt like she had done the proper transition to that sport. Like, she had done the proper transition, right? And she also had a kickboxing background on top of that, right? So I felt like she had the right team with her and stuff. So, but if you go back though, no one was demanding that fight. Like, it reached the point where everybody was saying, "Oh, she wiped out the division." You know, nobody could even compete with her. The only one that could give her a fight, but she'll always loses to her, is, you know, Miesha Tate. Like, that's what they were saying, right? That's what was happening then. You know, Holly Holm and her team didn't even want the title fight. You know, they thought, like, I remember reading an interview, they wanted 4 more fights or so before getting to the title shot, because they were still transitioning her to MMA. They were still trying to get her ready for when that title shot comes. This was, you know, not their preference. They took it, but it wasn't their preferred time for the title shot. So Ronda Rousey could have, you know, given the state that the division was in, been like, I want to have a boxing fight against the boxing world champion. That shit would have been an event at a lower scale than Conor Mayweather, obviously. There would have been a frenzy. Every online poll, just like today, would be having Ronda Rousey winning. Okay, that's what I believe would have happened. That I believe that. Okay. Now let's talk about the differences between Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey. Okay. So First of all, men's MMA is far more advanced than women's MMA. That's number one. Okay? But it evens out because men's boxing is far more advanced than women's boxing. Okay? So it evens out, again, in all honesty. But some obvious differences. Number one, Conor McGregor is a far better boxer than Ronda Rousey. Okay? By far. Conor McGregor comes from striking, not from grappling, right? While it is possible for a grappler to adjust to striking, it takes them a long time, okay? And a lot of them never really take getting hit in the face well. Like Brock Lesnar, former UFC champion. Once people found out you popped that dude in the mouth, he doesn't like it. I mean, he was basically exposed, you know? But Conor, he can get hit. Conor, he does have a very limited, but amateur background nonetheless. Now, in the UFC, they say he had a very good amateur career. I don't know what they mean by that. Okay? I don't know. I don't. Conor got out of amateur boxing at a very young age, transitioned to MMA, and I don't know of any. If you guys know them, what accomplishments did Conor McGregor have as an amateur boxer? Okay, it's when I hear he was a very good amateur boxer, I'm telling you, he was very good. Like, okay, but I don't see anything. You know, I don't. What are the accomplishments? You know, was he one fight away from making it to the Olympics? And well, what does that mean, right? Was he an Olympic alternate at least? Was he, you know, did he at least compete in the Olympic trials? Like what does that mean? He was a very good, you know, and like just in the country of Ireland, he couldn't even did he even make it to the Olympic trials? You know, I don't know. You guys tell me. You're saying he had a great amateur career, so I call it a limited amateur career. Okay, that's what I call it. Right, and he is in a combat sport. And for those guys, he has very, very good hands, okay, compared to those guys. And you know, he's just you could just tell he's just a better striker. He's a better boxer even by far than Ronda Rousey, right? But on the flip side, okay, like I said, it evens out because that whatever female boxer Ronda Rousey was going to fight is nowhere near as good as Floyd Mayweather, right? Nowhere near. It wouldn't even be funny, okay? There's a huge gap of talent there, right? So there you go. The frenzy is here, okay? I honestly believe, like, mark my words, okay? Like today, nobody admits they were saying these things about Rousey, okay? You can't find one person out there saying, "Oh yeah, I wasn't one of the people that said she could be the best boxer of all." I never said that. Like you know, like I'm telling you. Like, hey, didn't you say that she would be better than Layla Ali? I never said. I never said that. That was somebody else. I didn't say that shit. Like, you can't find nobody that said these ridiculous things. Nobody admits that said these things. You know, you can't find anybody, right? What did I said that? When did I say? Like we're not like if you asked Oscar the lawyer right now, he'd forget all the interviews he had when they released, you know, her face in the Ring magazine, right? Like the lawyer would be like, I never said that. I never said she would become a world champion in boxing. Like, yeah, you did, Oscar. You said she could transition to boxing. Okay, shut the fuck up. But anyway, like nobody admits it now, and I'm telling you, okay. A year and a half from now, you're not going to find anybody that will admit that they thought Conor McGregor was going to knock Floyd Mayweather out. You're not going to find anybody, okay? No one's going to, like, everybody is really wishy-washy with their predictions right now. I don't know if you guys have noticed, you know? It's, you know, they're very, very wishy-washy about it. You know, like, very wishy-washy. You know, like they're saying things like even the MMA dudes are like, I think Conor might present a different look for Mayweather that can cause some problems. But I would expect Mayweather to win. Like it's like stuff like that. It's a safe face. So if he does pull the upset, it could be like, I told you guys he could cause a lot of problems to Floyd, right? But if he loses, he could say, hey, look, I said Mayweather should win this fight. It was just intriguing to see, what the different look would present. But Mayweather, like always, pull off the victory. It's they're being real slick with their words. Okay, we're not on this channel. I'm just telling you right now, Conor McGregor's gonna get his ass beat. Okay, and I'm telling you right now, midway through, maybe, and this is being very generous, if that, midway through the second round, it's gonna start to get embarrassing. Right, very embarrassing for Conor McGregor. It's going to start getting embarrassing. I honestly believe that. All right, a lot of pissed off people are going to be, well, why is he in the ring with this guy? Like, I'm telling you that right now. They're going to turn it to a whole other person. Like, what you want forums like on people's Facebook posts? Saying McGregor's got this. What are you mad about? Well, McGregor, Floyd is a bitch. He always catches guys at the right time. He didn't give McGregor time to prepare. Why do you want to fight him? Since when does he fight in August? Why didn't he do the fight in September? Give McGregor an extra month. Like, I'm telling you right now, they're going to be saying dumb shit like that. Okay, they're going to be saying, oh, yeah, well, let's see in the octagon now. They're going to be saying stupid shit like that. Okay, they're already prepping that. They're already getting ready. Right? They're already doing it. Right? They're already doing it. So let me just say this. I don't know if Conor McGregor really thinks this is a game. I don't know if he really believes that, this is going to be a piece of cake or not. Because he's talking like nothing could happen to him is how he's talking. You can call Mayweather's hands brittle all you want, but it's like you couldn't say these things all you want. Like, people talk about Mayweather's hands like if he couldn't beat any pro boxer or some shit. Like, but I'm telling you, the sport of boxing is one of the most dangerous sports in the world. It's not a game in there, okay? It's not a game. Conor McGregor can suffer some career-ending injuries in his fight. He could break an orbital bone, okay? His little thin-skinned eyebrows are going to get cut, okay? He's going to suffer some cuts, some lashes, right? Could break your nose, okay? The swelling of the eyes. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen, right, in the sport. And it's not going to be so, oh, it's only fist when your only two fists are not landing. And you can't stop his two fists from punching you in the face. All of a sudden, you're going to wish it was an MMA fight, okay? At that point, you're going to be like, man, I really wish this, I wish you could fucking kick. Look, he's open for a takedown there. Well, you can't go for the takedown. He's going to get battered in there, man. This isn't a game. This is not a game. It really isn't. You could cause serious damage to his eyes. Okay, there's all types of injuries that could happen in the eyes. All types. Especially, okay, if you're not going to be rolling with the shots the way you should. I never seen Conor McGregor roll shots in all his fights because they don't know what the fuck that is over there, right? I don't think he's I don't think he knows exactly what's going to happen. I think he thinks he knows because he's been in the octagon, and he thinks he knows because he's sparred some people, but Sparring is a whole nother animal, man. You're not going to be wearing that headgear. That headgear isn't designed to prevent you from getting knocked out. It doesn't really do much about that. Okay? It's designed to prevent you from getting cut. And, you know, even in that sparring footage that a lot of people are just pretending doesn't exist. You know, it's crazy. Look, even if, like, I'm giving Connor the benefit of the doubt. I'm assuming that even if it was just the beginning of training camp, or he wasn't in training camp, you know, he wasn't in prime shape. It's not just that. It's when I see the technique, man. Okay, when I see the technique, it's a very flawed. It's and Van Herden was beating the shit out of him, and a lot of those punches, especially when you look at the certain angles, would have cut him. But he doesn't know how to roll shots. Right? He doesn't know how to roll shots. Look at the sparring footage. He doesn't even move it. He doesn't move his head. Right? Now, somebody say, well, look, that's different. That's MMA. You know, in the boxing, he's going to be moving his head. Look, let me tell you something. Everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the face. Right? Shout out to Mike Tyson. Once he gets punched in the face, you know, a million things are like you have to. It's almost like you're juggling in there. You're like I gotta move my head. I gotta work the jab. I gotta set this up. All while you're getting hit. Like it's different, right? It's a whole different ballpark. It's a whole different game. You know, I think. Because even with Floyd, like gets certain guys, I mean, even guys that we look at and say, man, that guy's a fucking brute, like Maidana, for example, right? I mean, Maidana does real good things in there. You know what I mean? And he positions himself very well to take shots very well. So even when you hit him clean, he's in a good position to take those shots. You know, I don't know if I mean, just the fact that I'm questioning boxing basics here. Like, we don't even know this dude could, like, it's going to be able to roll his shots. And even if he's working on rolling shots, it's too late. That's an art form that takes years to master. Like, you're not just going to, like, just do it in the training camp. It just isn't going to happen. Okay? Now, people are saying, well, what if he comes in and he starts fast? Okay, start fast. I mean, it's a 12-round fight. Like, what's he gonna do? Like, you want him to gas out? No, but he won't get tired. He's used to MMA, where guys do more stuff than just box. He kicks and he grapples and he's this and he's that. Look, it's a whole different thing. Okay, we're talking about a whole different thing here, right? So, you know, there's a reason, okay, Usain Bolt doesn't, you know, participate, you know, in long distance running, okay? It's different. The muscles for his sport are different, right? There's a reason for that. I mean, if that was true, I mean, you know, I remember, I mean, I miss Friday night fights. I miss Friday night fights. I really do. And the reason I miss Friday night fights, they had names there once in a while, and that was cool. You know what I mean? But they had journeymen. They had, you know, guys that were no longer in their prime, but still competitive fights with journeymen. It's just different stuff. I love Friday night fights. And then you would see, like, some good fights from some, like, low level guys. You know what I mean? It was just fun. I love Friday night fights. But once in a while, you saw Zab Judah there or whatnot. But I love that. Okay, I really wish they would bring it back. But with that said, like, I remember, man, like you would see, like, the beauty about Friday night fights. You would see guys that came from a kickboxing background or a wrestling background, or a Muay Thai background. Like you would see all these dudes, some of them making professional debuts, some of them on the 4th, 5th boxing fight. Like you would see all types of stuff. And I would see them get tired, right? So here's something Connor's not used to. So in MMA, they throw a jab in MMA, right? But since the majority of fights are so short, right, they don't really, and the gloves are a lot smaller, the impact of the jab is far different, right? So when someone in a boxing fight, especially with a 10-ounce glove, they throw a jab in your face, right? So yes, it disrupts rhythm. It lands, obviously. And another thing it does, okay, and let me tell you something. While I say this is one of the reasons I miss George Foreman, okay? George Foreman would educate people about these things. He would tell people what the jab does during the fight. When somebody was landing the jab a lot, like he'll talk about what it's doing to the neck muscles and stuff like that. Like he did a great job explaining these things. But a lot of people trash George Foreman, but I really liked him as a commentator myself. But anyway, not that it's going to get to this point, it just isn't. Okay? But when somebody's landing a jab in your face, right, and it's popping your head back, that puts a lot of strain on the back of your neck, right, and on your back in general. And that does a lot of things. It fatigues you, right, and it weakens you. Okay, it takes away a lot of your punching power, right? And these are the type of things that you don't really, that in MMA, that element doesn't come in. But not just that, right? See, in boxing, when you throw a jab, when you land the jab, you could do two things. You could bring your hand back. That's one option. Okay? You can also stick it in their face. Like you land it, stick it in their face, and you cover their vision. They're not able to see. They just pop their head back, and when their head comes back, they're seeing nothing but a fucking glove. That's all they're seeing, right? And that right hand is already coming from behind. So once that glove comes down, there's another fucking glove coming with a big impact punch coming. So there's a lot of things you can do with a jab, right? And that sophistication of the jab, okay, not just the execution of the jab, but how you utilize the jab. There's a difference, okay? The execution of throwing the jab and how you utilize and execute a jab are two completely different things. And that's a level of boxing that Connor's never dealt with. He's never dealt with something like that. Ever. I mean, being honest with you, you could get an old-ass chop Cordy in the ring right now, as old as that dude is, just like he beat that other Irish dude. How old is Chop? Remember he beat that Irish guy, the guy that fought Khan, that Khan couldn't knock out? Or did Khan stop him? I don't remember. Right? I don't know if Connor could beat Chop Cordy right now. I don't know. I have no idea. And Chop ain't beating nobody right now. Right? Also, people are talking about the size. Okay? First of all, let's like this you got to make up your mind. So the only way size matters is when you fight tall. Okay? So the way Schaub and all these idiots are saying Connor's going to fight is with the MMA stance. And if you look at that stance, he's giving away his height. So make up your minds, okay? And he tries to fight tall. It's going to be so foreign to him, okay? And here's the other interesting thing, okay? Floyd's fought all types of fighters. He's fought guys with long arms, Oscar De La Hoya. He's fought guys with short arms, Pacquiao. So Floyd's seen it all. But if you, like, one of the reasons Corrales had problems with Floyd was when Corrales would throw a punch, okay, and he missed, okay, that punch has a long way to travel back, right? So Floyd was in the lower weight classes. He was used to guys that didn't have that long arm. So when they would throw, the hand would come back right away. It had less distance to travel. It's a sport of milliseconds here, okay? Corrales would throw that long-ass arm. That's why Floyd got so many knockdowns. Corrales, he had a long distance to go. He would throw. That hand, it's just basic physics. The hand has to come back. The hand has to come back. We got a long torso like that, a long limb like that. What do you think's going to happen when Conor throws and he misses? Take a wild guess. With that long torso, okay, those long limbs, that long arm, what do you think's going to happen? And it's got to come back. It's got to come back. All right, like, it's got to come back. What's going to happen then? If Conor goes for an uppercut, right? First of all, in boxing, I mean, there's the front foot uppercut with your lead hand. That's my personal favorite uppercut. It reminds me of Jose Luis Castillo, especially like on the inside. Okay, and of course you have the other. It's beautiful uppercut too from your backhand, right? Not your lead hand, but the hand you would throw straight with, but instead you go for an uppercut, right? And Floyd's seen both, right? Like it's Conor's talking about, oh, I'm going to hurt him with an uppercut. Okay, so first of all, I don't even recall Conor landing an uppercut on anybody. Like it's even in the UFC, right? Conor is a very one-dimensional boxer. That's what he is. Okay, nobody wants to talk about that. Well, you think because he does MMA and jiu-jitsu and wrestling, all these things, that he's not one-dimensional when it comes to boxing? There's dimensions to boxing. He's a very one-dimensional fighter. That's what Conor, he's a very one-dimensional fighter. That's a long distance to travel, man. Especially the distance they're saying that they might fight from. It's a long distance to travel. I mean, what are you gonna really? You're gonna give Floyd an announcement that you're about to throw that left hand? Floyd isn't gonna jump in with his eyes closed, throwing a right hand like Jose Aldo did. Okay, it's not. And look, I love Jose Aldo. I really did. I still do. The dude was he was fun to watch, man. It was fun to watch. It really was. But the truth's the truth. The guy got hit in fights. He always got hit, right? And the way he came in against Conor was stupid. Like that was really dumb how he came in. Very stupid. If Floyd comes in like that, he deserves to get knocked out. Okay, all right. Now, there's a lot of things Conor's not used to. Like, Conor's used to a fight, aside from a couple instances, continuing. Like, he's not used to a constant break. That's number one. Just basic stuff. Just okay, break. All right, box. He's not used to something that simple, right? He's not used. Like, Conor doesn't know what it's like to get knocked down. Even if he's caught off balance and he goes down in a flash knockdown, he's not used to getting up and everybody's on their feet and the rest counting to 10 in your face. Like, I wouldn't even be shocked if the ref stops the fight because Conor's not paying attention to instructions. Okay, because the ref's going to tell him, hey, come here, walk forward, give me your hands. It's like, you never know. So there's a lot of things here that I think are going to be very interesting. I think he's going to realize right away that the target is very, very small. One thing I do see Conor doing is he's probably going to try to get close to Floyd hold one arm and start throwing with the other. And those are going to be arm punches. Those punches are going to be smothered. They're not going to hurt. Okay, they might make crowd noise, but they're not going to do anything. And he's going to tire the shit out of himself doing that. The holding in boxing is nothing like the holding in mixed martial arts. It's a different type of holding, right? It's far different. You know, like in MMA, they're like leaning against each other, against a cage, and it's a whole nother thing. You have an open hand. You're grabbing the wrist. You're grabbing, you know, you're hooking behind the shoulder. You know, you're pulling down on the neck. You're throwing knees in there. Like it's a whole different thing. Here, it's going to be holding. You're going to be throwing a bunch of arm punches that are not going to hurt Floyd whatsoever, and then they're going to say break. You know, that's what's going to happen. And Floyd's going to be able to throw some arm punches himself in there. Okay? If anything, he'll get some leverage into it. While you throw your 3 pity pad shots, he'll throw boom. Whether it's an uppercut to the stomach, right? Or even an uppercut inside. We'll see, right? It's going to be interesting. Class will be in session, right? Anyway, kind of segued out of the Ronda Rousey thing, but here we are, okay? And yeah, I mean, this is going to be interesting, man. Ronda Rousey's done, though, so we didn't have to worry about that circus, okay? We got to live with this one, though, because this one's happening. Believe it. I'm out.